Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing good. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can.
So, how was the weekend?
Oh, it was took a 7 mile hike and then like another 3 mile hike. So,
No way. Were you
yeah.
climbing elevation wise, or was it
Yes, but I don't keep track of that. But yeah.
very cool? Well,
Yeah.
can you maybe just introduce yourself and to the audience here? And again, we're with the International Dyslexia Association Oregon branch, and we have a really special guest today. I'm gonna let you take it away.
Okay, cool. So my name is Xaalan and I was a student member on the panel a very long time ago, like when it was first started. And I graduated high school and went to a community college, and now I'm here at CU Boulder in Colorado. And I'm working, um, to getting a major in dance and a minor in ethnics. And so, yeah, I guess I'm right now here quarantined kind of in my house doing nothing. But yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And first off, are you safe and sound and all that stuff? Like family good?
Yeah, yes, keeping myself safe and all that. Yes.
So, okay, I need to dial it back a little bit. So you're a member of the student panel. You were recruited by Shelby.
Yep. Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that story?
Um, so my mom took me to Shelby for tutoring for my disability when I was like, I'm gonna say 10. It might have been before then, but that's like kind of the age where everything was like happening and changing. So that's like the age I remember.
Okay.
And I was in tutoring for a while, and then Shelby pretty much was like, "We have this thing, and you should come." And I kind of just hung out with her for a day, and then like we ended up going to this thing, and she was like, "Now you get to talk about yourself," and I was like, "Oh no."
How is
So that
that?
was like how I got introduced to the panel and started like helping and advocating for myself and other students.
So it's funny because Shelby, there's so many different stories like yours where, oh, she took me to Burgerville, and then we went and I spoke about myself, and then now all of a sudden I'm in advocacy. So it's really cool to hear how things got started. What was it like being diagnosed with dyslexia for you?
It was definitely it was hard. There was a lot of relief at a certain point just because it's not just that like there's something wrong with me. There's something that we know why, we know how, and we can work on it to the best of our ability and find solutions for it. Like I remember like going and getting tested for the first time. It was really hard. Like taking all the tests was like, okay, that's cool. And then like afterwards you have to sit in a room. And I remember coloring and then they came in and were talking to my mom and I, and it was like it was a lot of like relief. It was like, oh wow, I'm not just, I'm not crazy. I'm not just stupid. I'm not lazy. Like that those words like impacted like a lot of my education, and it still does. And like knowing that there's nothing wrong with me, like this is just who I am. It's okay to be this way was like huge. And it really did change who I was as a person. Like I wasn't just working on trying to be better. I knew that it was okay to be me, if that makes sense.
What? Yeah, no, totally makes sense. What age were you? Can I ask what age you were when you kind of came to that discovery? It is just okay to be you.
It's still a process.
Okay.
It's you're still coming to it today. Like
Yeah.
definitely after going through all of the tutoring I went through and sorry, my lights are flickering.
No, you're good.
Going
It's
through the
good. It's
tutoring, uh like the tutoring really like helped me figure out like where my what my this point of knowledge was, like how could I get like learn something um about like my dyslexia my dyslexic journey. And then like even today, like I'm still struggling with like what technology to use, how to use it, when to use it, how to be comfortable using it, especially as like my major is not technically focused. Like I don't have to use my computer to dance. Like it's a physical thing. So I'm like I still have to figure out like when I go to the doctors, like how do I bring my technology with me? How do I have to ask them for electronic forms of everything? Like that stuff I'm still working on, but that's why I'm like I'm still growing, I'm still learning. And so like even though I'm comfortable with like me being dyslexic, I still have to like work on those things because that's always going to be a part of me.
Oh, so powerful. All right. Well, if you're just joining us, we're talking to Xaalan, International Dyslexia Association, Oregon branch. We are talking about dyslexia, the journey's been like for her dealing with dyslexia, and you're in college. Can you talk
Yeah.
like so the people in our audience like they may want to know like what's that process like going from high school to college as someone who's dyslexic? And you do identify like do you use the word dyslexic? Like how do you reference like I have dyslexia or do you say I'm dyslexic? What does that
It
mean?
kind of depends. Like when I'm talking to my friends, I usually am like, guys, like my dyslexia is like really hard right now. Like I can't function today. Like don't make me read a bunch. But like when I'm talking to teachers and I'm like, hey, I'm a student and I've been diagnosed with dyslexia, and if you don't know what that is, here's like my basic. This is what I have to work with every day. This is what's easier for me. This is what's harder. Like it, it just kind of depends. But yes, I do identify as being dyslexic.
Cool. So were there any doubts going to college?
No, like my family is very much like college is where you're going to go. You're not, it's not that I didn't have an option, but it was an expectation. Like you're growing up to go to college. Like that is your, you have to go kind of. And that was always expected of me. And so like I never had a doubt that it's not that I wouldn't go to college. It was more like, where am I going to go to college? What am I going to college for?
Yeah.
Like what is my actual purpose of having higher education? Um, and so like coming to CU, it was really an interesting journey from like going from high school where I was like homeschooled and I took a couple classes at my local high school to going to like a community college where I had really good advisors and a great accommodation program that like helped me get all the accommodations I needed for my dyslexia versus coming here where I had to get retested, which took like the first semester and a half to actually get all of my accommodations set up. And then again, learning how to use my accommodations, like being away from home, not having my mom to like advocate for me, having to advocate for myself. Um, and then like changing my whole degree program and then kind of being where I am now, where I'm comfortable, I can talk about it. I feel like I have a good structure here and a good like support system.
So you kind of went from homeschooling to
Mm-hmm.
having the structure kind of in place for you and what your needs were to
Mm-hmm.
the community college where it seems like everything was dialed in for you, like you had your system set up. Then to making the step to CU where you now are like, I got to go to work, I got to advocate for myself, I got to get
Mm-hmm.
retested, I got to,
Yeah.
but and how rewarding is it to get to finally a place where you feel like you're fully functional?
It's exciting. It's definitely like a rewarding moment to know that I've come from being terrified of opening a book to like being willing to read 5 books in a semester. Like to like be excited to like learn about someone else's story. Not that I didn't love books or literature when I was younger, but the fact that I'm okay opening up my PDF, turning on my technology, and just sitting there for 8 hours a day and just reading. Like that is a huge step for me, and like it makes me more comfortable like talking about it and being okay saying to my teacher, hey, like I really do need this in PDF format. Like I can't just read the 2-page article in class like everyone else. Like I need you to send it to me. Like
Are you listening to it or are you actually reading it?
so I usually try to like skim read and like see like specific words. that
Okay.
I like know I can recognize and know I can decipher, but I definitely then have to go back, especially like even shorter, like 2-page paragraphs and like things like that. Like I do need to read like from, or my computer has to read to me. I say
Okay.
I'm reading it, but it's my computer reading it.
But you're reading it basically, so you're hearing
Yeah,
it. Oh,
yeah,
okay. Yeah, yeah. That's how I am too. I'm auditory processing for
yeah.
sure. Okay, so now I got, okay, if you're just joining, please feel free to drop us a question as we go through this. We're talking to Xaalan, dance major, now at CU, dyslexic, but crushing it. What advice would you tell students that are kind of apprehensive about using technology or resources that are beneficial to them based on what their peers might be saying to them right now or what they may be
Yeah.
feeling just internally?
Yeah, it's so again, like as a homeschooler, I kind of had it easy. Like my mom, like we got a computer, we got the technology, we started me out really early, like having the ability to have that technology. And I know that a lot of kids like who are in middle school and high school in the public school system, it's uncomfortable sometimes to like have to have your computer out and to, or whatever technology you're using, if it's an iPad or your phone, like it's awkward. And I totally feel that. Like I'm that kid who like would sit in the front of the class, like have my computer out and be like, no one else is doing this. Okay. Like it's something you kind of have to just it's baby steps. Being okay with it, like talking about it. It's it's going to be something that you're going to have to work on and it's not going to come overnight. And if you are like that kid who can just start something new, like that's great and you should keep pushing to be that like proud and just that dignified of like who you are and like what you're trying to work on. And if that's like being comfortable using your computer, like just baby steps. Take it out one day. Tell your friend about it. Have your friend sit by you. Like make sure like you feel comfortable. Talk to your teachers. Your teachers want to like help you. And if they aren't, then they shouldn't be teachers. Like you know? Like
Fair,
they you should
totally
feel as
fair.
comfortable as you can be. Yeah.
Have you had to advocate for yourself outside of the classroom? Like, have you, like, how has it been like, are there challenges going to a restaurant, ordering off a menu? Are there things where you're like, that's not me?
um yeah, so definitely. It is really awkward, especially like dates when I many guys I've dated have been like, why do you need me to read this to you? And I'm like, guys, I want to actually get something I like. Just read the freaking menu to me. You just read the first like you don't have to read the description. Just read me the name. And if I like the name, I'll get it. Like it's very it's very funny. But like that I had to get comfortable doing that because like when I was younger, my we would just order as a family. Like, you know, everyone would get kind of something they liked, but like when you're out by yourself, like it's hard to read the menu. It's you go for what you normally like, oh, it's a sandwich. Okay, good. That's normal. I know what's on there. Um, but yeah, like I just got used to asking. I got used to being okay with it. And again, my comfort zone is stuff I like. So when I go to the same place 8 times, like I'm gonna usually get the same thing.
We had a story, I'm gonna get to Jane's question here in a minute, but we had a story about our student panel. They all were in Connecticut for this conference, and they all ordered pizza just because they heard one person order pizza, and they didn't even, none of them wanted pizza or like what, but it was just because it was so uncomfortable to get through that sitting. So Jane says you're so articulate verbally, and there's been a number of other compliments on the line from our president Danielle and so on. So I want you to know that. But can you talk about how you feel dance is your voice?
Um, so this is kind of the fun like kid story. I started dancing when I was 5. I did ballet forever. I loved it. I could be the princess or the fairy on stage. It was great. Um, and I thought that was all dance was. And I learned other styles and jazz and modern and all of that. And coming here, I'm really able to express what dance is for me and not just putting on a character for someone else. And I really like the department's view because they're looking at other forms of dance. They don't want the Western European forms. They want the transnational fusion. They want the hip hop. They want all of that. And I love being able to express myself through that like those forms because they're so different than what I was trained in. And so like dance is my voice, and like I really appreciate people think I can articulate because that's something I try to work on a lot of the time. Because when I have found the guest teachers here, when they come in, they know how to use their vocabulary and their words to make you move in a different way than what you're used to. And that's impressive and astonishing and just it's moving for me. And that's again, it's just another way how dance has like made me want to be a better person, made me want to actually change things for myself and for the world. And that's hopefully what I'm going to do. So yeah.
So powerful. So
Mm-hmm.
powerful. So changing the world through dance. So I gotta ask, like, if you can have any song on for your dance, like, what are you choosing? Like,
It really depends. My sister's actually like the biggest person who like brings music into my life. She and I will like DJ together on like Spotify and stuff. And so like one song, oh man. Right now, just because like everything has been so hectic recently in my life with like moving and um like living in a different place with different people, it's the song I'm going to show you crazy or I'm going to show you me is something like that song. It
yeah,
just it's really powerful and it's just it makes me feel like I'm the per se badass of like my world and I can actually do whatever I need to do no matter who's like saying to me that I should be doing other things. Like it's my world, it's my choice. So it
uh,
just like moving songs, yeah.
I like it. I like it. All right, we got another question online. Do you find there are other students with dyslexia that are with you, or do you feel like maybe you're the only one out there right now in school?
I definitely it's hard because like I identify as dyslexic, I talk about it a lot. But a lot of the times in college, they don't you don't really know unless you like meet them in the like testing room or you see them handing like the accommodation letters over. You don't actually know who else has accommodations, who else has been tested. Um, so yeah, I actually do feel very isolated, like in the respect of like I feel like the only one. Like I have other friends who like have accommodations and they say they're dyslexic, but they've never been tested. So it's not that I don't believe them, but it's like for me, I had to go through two times of testing
Yeah,
over like a decade, which is a lot. Um, and so like it is a little bit weird like talking to someone and then being like, "Oh, I'm dyslexic." And I'm like, "Oh, when were you like diagnosed?" And they're like, "Oh, I've never been tested for it." I'm like, "Okay." I don't like yeah, you have all the symptoms, but also so does half of our class. So, I don't know. It's an interesting aspect.
totally fair. What if you could talk to if there was teachers or tutors on the line tonight? What advice would you have for them and as they're teaching students, you know, neurotypical or dyslexic?
Um, I would like be very careful with how you treat students because like my mom suffered from this. Love you, mom. Sorry, I'm gonna be mean. Um, but it's she would always say like you're so smart and like things like that. Saying like pretty much telling a student that they're okay even when they're struggling just to do one homework assignment sucks. Like it's like you should be positive and you should help reinforce that they're a good person and they are doing their best. But say like you're like doing good job, you're working hard, like I can see you're putting work in is better than just being like, oh, you're smart, you'll figure it out. Because I felt like I had to prove that I was smart instead of just knowing that I was working hard enough. Um, and so like don't like try to make sure the student feels as comfortable as possible doing their best instead of doing the perfect amount like everyone else. Because everyone's gonna work a little differently. Everyone's gonna take their time. Again, like for me, it takes me 2 days to do some assignments while other kids can do it in a couple hours. Like it's hard and everyone is just a little different and that's okay. And that's what makes us special.
Totally. Well said. Very well said. Like, and I remember going through it I was constantly trying to prove the I'm not dumb, I'm not
Mhm.
stupid line. So there's that battle, and we talked to our student panel, and we were like, well, dyslexia is such a gift, and it's like they're not there yet. To it can be with the right support, and you get over the hurdle, but when you're in it, it's a different battle.
Yeah.
And I just wanted. It sounds like you experienced that on both
Oh
your
yeah.
experience.
It's definitely like go and I think this is the other thing, like going from being homeschooled to going to a community college is like it's huge. Like not being in a classroom normally, like that's hard, like to be focused all day on one person instead of being able to take, 30 minutes to do something and then go take 5 minutes to just run around the house or, play with my cats. Like that's different than what college is like. And you have to focus so much. Like, yeah, there's a lot of hurdles. And every new situation you get into, like when you're finding a job, when you're, you know, doing volunteer activities, like you have to find your own approach to everything. So
Speaking of that, have you thought about what you would like to do after college?
uh, I'm working on it. I'm still working on it because like I haven't been able to fully experience what dance can be for me. Like, yes, I want to choreograph. Yes, I want to perform. But I still haven't taught. Like, I don't teach yet, and I'd like to experience that. I haven't done a lot of research, and I'd kind of like to, figure out what kind of research is out there for dancers. So I do want to do something in the dance world. I do want to be an artist. I do want to participate with like multiple companies. Um, but no, I don't have a full plan. I don't have a exact like company that I've already signed a contract with that I'm working with.
Nor
Yeah.
do you need one. And I think it's important for our listeners too, is like you can go to college with the idea that you want to study a topic but might not know what to do with that topic, or you might not know what to study and you might need
Yeah.
that part of it. So don't have to have all the answers to
Mhm.
keep making progress, which you clearly are, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So here's the question for you: who do you admire in the field?
Ah. Oh man. Well, so it's a fun question because I love all of my peers. Like it's so amazing being able to be in a classroom with students who they like they inspire you. Like my friends and I will just be sitting in a classroom and I'm like, you have to do that again. Like that was so cool. Videotape that. Or like my friend and I will be dancing and I'm like, we have to take a picture. Like this is a moment we need to have in a piece. Like I get so inspired by just having like my peers in a classroom and like talking to them. Like my friend and I still Zoom and like talk about work and stuff. And that's more inspirational than like for me than finding like one person that I like look up to because like it takes a community, it takes a village, and you can't just have like one little person like creating all these like superheroes. Like it takes all the superheroes to create the better superhero. So yeah.
What a brilliant answer. Uh, Oh, we got another question here. Shelby's asking, can you talk about how important it is for a student to interview the tutor?
I think I know where she's going with this. It is
She
important.
generally has a reason for it. Yeah, so you can take it that way.
Um, like so my grandparents were the ones that pushed me to go to tutoring. Like my mom knew there was something, but like we had been tutoring at home and it was a struggle and it was like hurting our relationship as mother and daughter. And so tutoring was like I went to like one of those big broad like cool places that was like we can help like, teach your children things. And I just it was like a reward system and I didn't like it and I was not interested. And then we like went and talked to Shelby and she was personable and it was at her house and she was cool and she had a daughter and it was like it was fun. Like I don't
She,
know. I think worked. She's like,
she,
tell
she
them how you
wants,
interview. I don't
yeah,
remember this. um,
shall we jump on and and you can
yeah,
explain
she
the
needs to
story?
jump on and talk about this because I was young. I thought like it
Um,
definitely is important.
um, well, we'll see if she joins us. But another question came up for me while you were talking. What advice would with quarantine and parents teaching their kids and maybe understanding the value of how valuable teachers are with that. What advice would you give parents right now that are in the process of teaching their kids, and how to make that relationship work?
Um, I think be patient and like really try to have those heart to heart talks. Like it can be really challenging, especially for as a student who struggled with reading and still does. Like it's hard. It's challenging to have your parent, like the person you admire and look up to, like be like, you need to do this. You need to be able to do this. Like we have to do this. And I'm like, give them time. Like be patient. If they're having a rough day, like try something a little easier. Ask them what would work for them. Like try different things. Be patient. Big thing.
Totally. So here's the rule of this show, this Instagram live show that we do on Monday nights for the International Dyslexia Association Oregon branch. The last word always goes to you. So
Okay.
you can decide what message you have to the world about dyslexia, or if you have something you want to share, it's the ball's in your court.
Okay. Um, well, it's really important to find what you love and to find what you enjoy. And for me right now, because I can't fully be in my happy place of dance, I've been finding other little things that I like. So I've been painting more. I've been cutting a lot of people's hair. I've been doing my own hair stuff. So it like find those things that make you stay alive when you can't always do what you want to do. And I think that's the most important thing right now, especially in quarantine, especially for people like myself who feel isolated because I'm not with my family. I'm like with a couple friends. It's you need to make sure you're staying true to yourself, but maintaining a sanity for that like inner person.
Well, you heard it here. Find what you love to do. Now, we're getting more information about this interview. We interviewed several tutors, and Shelbe was really good fit. She and Xaalan hit it off, and it was an amazing experience. Well, maybe that is
That's my mom.
just, well, so many nuggets that you dropped tonight for the audience. I just want to thank you for taking the time on your Monday night, and from IDA, from the Oregon branch, from our current student panel. I know they're in admiration of what you're doing and all the things that you're going on to do. So thank you, and just we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Take care.
Okay, bye bye.